And
Hi,
we are live.
welcome to the Violent Wrestling Podcast. My name is Mox, and this is
And I'm Ambrose Alley. And this is the inaugural, the first ever episode of Violent Wrestling Podcast. Finally, it's off the ground.
Fi- finally. This episode, we're not going to dive too deep into much of the wrestling. We just wanted to give a short introduction of how we met, how BWP came about, where we're going with it. Obviously, based on our two avatars, we're both Dean Ambrose fans, John Moxley fans.
You might say it was Dean Ambrose that got us into this whole mess.
We met, I want to say, going on 3 years ago in a wrestling chat, and usernames just kind of aligned with. I went by Moxley, hence Mox, and Ambrose Alley, and so we just hit it off and became friends, and now we're here.
Yes, and Ambrose Alley comes from that one episode that had Piper on it, who told Dean Ambrose, "This is Piper's Pit, not Ambrose Alley." And it's stuck.
Oh, the memories.
Good memories.
Good times. And that's very fitting because Dean has always reminded me of Roddy Piper, of that, and just like everybody else, he's a lunatic, Michael. Uh, Not really a fan of them overusing that, but they do have a lot of similarities in character and how they wrestle.
Yeah, Dean has had a better title track record than poor Piper ever did.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Hogan.
Don't get me started. Anyway, we're not only going to be discussing what brought about our love to ultra-violence wrestling, but we're going to cover a lot of other aspects as well. And you'll be surprised at
Right.
what
Well,
huh?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just confirming that when this started and how the name came about was our love for the blood and the violence
And the
and
barbed
all that.
wire.
Yeah, and just the crazy stuff that you see and that nobody's really podcasting about or paying attention to, and so that this was all Ambrose Alley AA's idea, and then once we like, okay, let's start podcasting about it. Then it kind of splintered into, well, let's cover some other stuff, some local promotions, some independents. We're gonna have coverage of probably sometimes wrestlers you've never even heard of or promotions. And I, AA, aren't you getting with Big Sky Wrestling?
Yes, I'm getting with Big Sky Wrestling. And so not only do we get access to wrestlers to talk to, but we also can get behind the scenes on how a show was put on.
Just not your typical podcast. I mean, we're still going to cover the WWE and Lucha Underground for sure. Any newsworthy stuff, we'll cover it. We're gonna, but it's gonna be the violent part in the wrestling podcast doesn't really suit WWE. That's when, or some of these other promotions we're wanting to cover. But the name, we like the name. We stuck with the name. No big deal.
So my love for ultra-violence wrestling started, well, actually, because when I first saw the Shield debut, I got behind Dean Ambrose, so I started doing some research on him, found him as John Moxley, and then started looking back into his early years. And come to find out, I love violence.
Who would have guessed? Not you, AA, not you.
Oh, no, not me at all.
And I knew of John Moxley, but I was more of a Brody Lee fan. Just something about, back then, uh, Moxley was just balls to the wall crazy. But Brody Lee moved, which you guys know, Luke Harper, for such a big man, just did things that shouldn't be done.
Yeah, Brody Lee, I've seen some of his matches, and man, for a big guy, what he can do, it's amazing. It's a shame that they don't let him live that up on as Harper.
And I really wish they would. I don't know what. That's a whole podcast episode in its own of Harper, the Wyatt family. But if we're just going to stick to Brody Lee, Luke Harper, like why they won't let him. He's very agile. He's very athletic, and they put him in this box like the big man box. Your limited move set.
I mean, I saw him as Harper when he did an episode of Damnation, and I watched him in Damnation. He's got acting chops. They need to let
Yeah,
him go.
I didn't watch the episode, but I saw the. I think it was during Raw or SmackDown. They did the preview. Like Luke Harper's going to be on Damnation premiere or this season, and he really does everybody's the it factor, quote unquote, and he really does have it.
Yes, and I just wish they would showcase it more. I really do.
But and it's the same to some degree can be said about Rowan. I don't know. Didn't I say something about not dwelling on wrestling for? But here we are. This is the kind of podcast you're going to get. Just two friends talking about their favorite pastime.
So we say we're going to go one straight line, but we may digress into who knows what.
Hey, it happens. Just this cookie cutter of, and there's some stigma. Braun is finally like broken apart from it, but there's some stigma with Harper and Rowan again to some degree with the Wyatt family stuff. Like they're and I'm not saying they need to shave their beards or do a complete overhaul look wise, but I mean they were uh, I don't know if it's creatively or that they just view them as this, from the swamp in Louisiana, and that's all. Like they're especially Luke, so much more than that. Could be so much more than that.
Yeah, I was really ashamed when he was getting that nice push on SD on SmackDown Live with the Orton thing, and
That
they blew it on him. They blew it. They should have kept.
ab-
They should have pulled the trigger on him.
absolutely, I agree 100%. That the end game. Not only did he get relegated to the pre-show Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and then the match they gave us with Orton and Bray. Like, what in the world? Like all the they were actually telling a good story, and then just 1 week, no, nope, we're not doing this.
But back a little bit back online to what we were trying to get across in our
Sorry.
first. No problem. Because we'll start digressing off into whole sorts of things. As it is, as Mox said, it's just two friends talking, and we love sharing our love, and we don't mind a little bit of blood, a lot of blood.
The more the better.
Oh yeah, yes, that's why I still like watching CZW, IPW. Um, why I got a big thing for Jimmy Havoc.
And see, I finally started coming around to Jimmy Havoc. Finally, I know that might be a shock that I wasn't like right on board, but it took me some time. But I'm finally like, okay, yeah, I dig this guy.
It, Jimmy Havoc is an acquired taste.
Right. That might be what took me a minute because for whatever reason, yeah, just at first. But now that I saw it, like, yeah, I, I, I can get behind him.
Oh yeah. I mean, unlike when Dean first appeared with the shield and everything, where you got behind him right away, and then you could go back and find out all this other stuff about him. Dean is not an acquired taste like Jimmy Havoc is.
And I'm not sure because we did digress a little bit there. We're gonna have interviews coming up. We've already got 1, 2 scheduled for the next couple of podcasts, and I'll go ahead. The first one we're gonna do is he's making a name for himself here in the South with main event champion pro wrestling, along with other promotions on the indie circuit here, and he goes Mississippi, Texas, Kentucky. Bam Bam Malone will, I believe, and excuse me if I'm out of line, AA, I believe will be our first guest interview. So if you guys have any questions, for somebody coming up through the indie scene, why they got in wrestling or that kind of stuff, just let us know and we'll make sure to ask.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Lady Rashana, and so just Twitter me and let me know your questions, or you can email them to violent wrestling podcast at gmail.com.
And my Twitter is at fireman6809, and our Twitter is Violent Wrestling Podcast. No G in wrestling. Twitter wouldn't allow that big of a handle. Just Violent Wrestling Podcast. No G. Any questions? Anything? Any indie people you'd like to hear from? Let us know. We can try to reach out and see if we can get a hold of them.
I don't like dead air time. That
And neither do I. I always feel like I'm going to step over your toes, and I
it's the
try to
same
say some.
way
Yeah.
like now. We'll get this
Hey,
down.
it's our first one, guys. Like, I mean, cut us some slack. This is our first back and forth. So bear with us. We're getting this.
And also, that'll be coming up on the podcast is I've been talking to Big Sky Wrestling. I'm going to try to help them get their anniversary show off the ground. So I'll be bringing you little snippets here and there on exactly what it takes to get one of these shows going.
I'm really excited for that because that's going to be pretty cool. Of just everybody has some, obviously a working knowledge, but the intricate ins and outs, that's going to be really cool when that happens.
So I am very looking forward to it. That probably won't happen until April or May of 2018. When they're going to do their anniversary show, which will be held in either Cheyenne, Wyoming or Casper, Wyoming. I'm hoping for Cheyenne, so I don't have to travel to Casper.
Hopefully you won't be buried in snow by then. Hopefully it will all be melted.
That's why I say we need to be in Cheyenne. I do not want to drive to Casper in the winter.
Let's see. Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air.
Dead air, crickets chirping, chirp, 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 chirp.
So, and another thing, when I met AA, like one of the first few days we were talking, I found out that she's my hero because she was at Survivor Series 2014 and got to see Sting debut.
That was awesome. I still remember that.
And little side note, Sting is number one, my all-time favorite. Always has, always will. I got to see Sting when Sting and Ultimate Warrior tagged. It was the Blade Runners way back, like 85 or so. And fell in love with Sting, didn't really care for Ultimate Warrior, or they come Rock. And loved them ever since, and then run into AA. And hey, by the way, no, you got to see him debut live.
Yes, it happened 2014 in St. Louis, Missouri.
The Show Me State.
The state of misery.
Well, okay.
I lived there. I can call it the state of misery.
I was going to say, if you haven't lived in Missouri, you call it the Show Me State. If you've lived in Missouri, it's the Misery State.
Yes, the state of misery.
Are we missing anything as far as the intro and where we're going, what we're doing?
I don't think so, except that it's been that since when we first met in this chat room, we've been friends since then. Good friends.
Yeah, well, I consider you one of my best friends, to be honest.
Same here.
And also, guys, keep in mind, it is New Year's Eve and 9:30 p.m., so cut us some slack. Like, we all know what happens on New Year's Eve. Just, well, question. What's your worst moment in 2017?
My worst moment in 2017, other than Dean Ambrose getting injured and going to be on the shelf for quite a while, which I think really got to a lot of people, a lot of his fans. My worst, huh?
Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. But for me, it would be Jinder Mahal's title reign.
Ooh. Okay. You want to go in depth a little as to why, or just a blanket?
It's mainly he just doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't. I could never connect with him, even when he was running with 3MB. I still couldn't connect with him. And if I can't connect with a wrestler, if he doesn't even have a bit of charisma, I mean, yes, Vince did something. He tried something. It failed miserably, in my opinion. But Jinder, he is not a main event talent. I say he's more low to mid card.
Are you worried they're about to put the U.S. title on him with this bracket challenge thing?
Actually, no, I'm not. I don't think they're going to put that title on him. He's already
I
had
think. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking rude, but the brackets being the way they are, pretty sure he's at least making it to the finals.
I'd like to see Xavier get it.
Oh, so would I. Please, please,
I,
please.
I am rooting for Xavier to win the U.S. title
That would be so awesome.
because I think he could do a lot with it.
And speaking of underrated, I don't know if you can really classify him as underrated as far as being a piece of the New Day, but as a singles competitor, and he wasn't always like this, but he has brought his game this year. He has really stepped it up with, and I say we all, I take some things for granted. But, Apollo, Creed, and TNA, like he's never been really bad in the ring, but he's really taken his talents up this year.
I think one of the
Where he just
reasons
go ahead.
that he's improved so much, here we go, talking about wrestling again, is because he's got two great athletes working with him.
Oh yeah,
You got Big E, and then you got Kofi. And it just seems like when you're in a stable, in a faction, whatever you want to call it, you do tend to feed off of each other and you get better.
oh, I agree. And just like with the Shield, uh, because it's not just what you see on TV. The what's New Day Shield, just three people and three people. Evolution to some degree. But let's just stick with the Shield and New Day. Not only what you see on TV and how they interact, but they have to have a lot of time, backstage and getting to know each other and how each other works. Like that kind of the Shield and New Day specifically, their personalities, charisma, attitude just mesh so well that it translates into what we see on TV.
Yes. It's like the first time you see Ambrose and Harper, who at that time was known as Luke Harper. When you watch them for the first time going to it, you could tell they've worked together before.
Right.
Each other because they both came up the same way. And
And that's kind of a go ahead.
I was going to say that's kind of like with when he works so well with AJ. AJ can make anyone look good, but it takes two to tango. And I think Dean brought out the best in AJ, and I think that they worked a little bit harder with each other and were a little bit stiffer because they both came up the same way.
Right. It wasn't. We're probably going to get some bad feedback on this, but yeah, it's a first podcast. Now they're not a. They came up hard. AJ, and I'm a fan. I've never said anything bad, and he's worked his ass off too. But everybody wants to, Roman's just handed this, or Roman didn't have to work for anything. That man has busted his ass for years, and is
Yes,
one of
he
the,
has.
if not, he's right there. But the years with Dean and AJ, they've gone.
Yeah, so is Harper, and a lot of
And
them.
yeah, and I didn't mean to pick Roman out, but that's what social media wants to. Well, Roman was handpicked and never had to work for it. That's BS. We all know that. The longevity of the careers, and the trajectory of how they got where they are now, maybe a little different, but when you're I'm just assuming I've been in a ring before, but I've never been in a wrestling match per se. There's that respect back and forth of, man, it took us a while, but we're here.
Oh yeah. So you heard about my worst moment of 2017. What was yours?
Um, Not to be Debbie Downer, but Bobby the Brain Heenan passing really struck home. Is, I mean, that he was my childhood, and then the voice, and him and Monsoon. That was pretty hard to take. And the sad part is we're getting kind of used to wrestlers, people in general. We're both a little older than the millennials and whatnot, so people we grew up with are passing. That was pretty rough. But then, as far as in ring or that kind of stuff, my worst would be probably uh, 1B would be how Nakamura and Jinder went. 1A is Braun and Brock, and I knew they weren't going to let Braun go over. But damn it, if I didn't want it to happen.
I think there's a lot of people who wanted Braun to go over.
Wow. I just had this, and they could have done so much with, you know, a few pay-per-views with different opponents, and then kind of come back to the Reigns thing later. Because I'm sorry, Reigns and Braun
Oh, they
at
killed it.
WWE, just strictly WWE. There's been some other feuds outside, but that is WWE feud of the year. I mean, hands down, because it's just every time it's like, oh, this again. And what are they going to do now? And they always exceeded what they did before.
Yes, they
Okay,
did.
what's your favorite of 2017?
My favorite of 2017 is Raw after WrestleMania 33. I
Five
mean,
words.
oh, that's mainly,
Oh,
and it was because when Roman stepped into that ring, he was booed, told to get out of there for about 12 plus minutes, and he owned them all with just 5 simple words. This is my yard now. Drop the mic and walk out. That,
that's all it took.
he owned them. After that, he owned them. He had them. And I just loved it. So butterflies in my stomach when I catch it on YouTube and things like that.
Yeah. Well, they're booing him, and he's held his hand out with the microphone in the other hand, and he just put his finger in the palm of his hand and just made a circle. Like, I've got him in the palm of my hand. I'm like, yes, yes. I didn't know what he was going to say, but and then, and I've seen some things online. There's no way a 5 word promo could be a promo of the year, or that he didn't own the crowd. The crowd overtook every time, like just lift the microphone to his mouth and just let them rain the boos. No pun intended. He owned that crowd.
Yes, he did. And I bet you thought it was going to be the reuniting of the Shield would be my favorite moment.
I would have if it didn't turn out the way it did.
They're cursed.
I mean, all the way from the time how they came back together just baffles me. Like, we're talking about the Shield, and just a random. Well, spoiler alert. My favorite is when Dean and Seth first time, or I say fist bump, but when they got back together, I mean, the writing was on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
All this week, they were going to reform it, but because it was leading up to Seth trying and Dean shunning, and then Dean trying and Seth shunning. The two of them.
They did a nice slow burn on it. They didn't do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's my one. That's what I was saying about all three of them coming back, because that was just so quick. Like, once Seth and Dean were cool, then it was literally that promo of, oh, you've heard rumors about the Shield? They aren't rumors.
What rumors?
What rumors? And then here comes Dean and Seth. Like, I got goosebumps, and then the first time they came down through the entrance and Kurt talked over Sierra Hotel, India Echo Lima Delta. Like, come on, man! People have been for this. When you talk over
their entrance.
They could have kept the slow burn a little, going on a little more, but yeah, it is what it is. I hate that saying.
Okay, so what do you want to see for 2018?
Oh, please get Balor back into. Okay, get the title up Brock. Period. I don't care who. Put it on Mahal for all I care. Just get it off Brock. Balor being relevant again.
Yeah. I wish it had
was that
been.
supposed?
Huh? Go ahead.
Was I supposed to just say one thing, or could I make a list?
You can make a list for what you want to happen in 2018.
I've got a small little list going. Besides the Balor being relevant, and well, now my mind works weird, guys. Sorry. Balor being what he was originally planned for before the injury, like a main event guy, and not just fodder or cool entrance dude. Dean coming back healthy. Please don't do a heel turn with any of the Shield. If they want to go their separate ways, fine, but no more chair shot heard around the world stuff. Just, hey, I'm gonna go do my thing. That's just so repetitive and dull to me. Uh, Braun, give him, let Braun do Braun, like hit that pedestal. And I know that's contradictory, but they can always do a shake up of, I want Balor to be top here and Braun to be top here, and that's not going to go over well on the same show. And then just good, consistent storytelling. And I'm just going to stick with WWE here because a lot of the other promotions are kind of already doing what I would like to see. Just the don't insult our intelligence and that kind of stuff, I guess. Just give me a reason to watch, not just because it's Monday night at prime time and it's on and I like wrestling, so I'm going to watch wrestling. Give me that reason that, oh, I can't wait to see next week kind of stuff from back in the day. What about you? What do you?
Well, first thing is I want to see Seth win the Intercontinental Championship, not take it off of Roman. Take it off of someone else, because that will make him a Grand Slam. And then that would be the Shield would be Grand Slam. And I think that would make them the first faction to be a Grand Slam.
Dean got there first.
Dean got there first. Dean's the youngest. Roman's got there. We got to get Seth there. Because where's Eddie when you need him?
Right.
But I think that would be the first faction. Because a Grand Slam would be the Shield. I may be wrong, though.
I'm thinking Evolution, and the one that sticks out from Evolution would be Batista. So I think you're right, at least as far as that goes.
Well, factions, I don't think it's Evolution because I don't think Flair is a Grand Slam.
No, when I say Evolution, I'm saying Batista, Orton, and Triple H.
Oh, okay. But I want to see a title on Braun.
Something.
He's just so awesome. I'd like to see him take it from Brock. I really would. It's not going to happen, but I would.
Are we headed? Go ahead.
Huh?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Towards Reigns, Lesnar.
No, we're heading toward Brock and Braun. I don't really want. I don't know. That's kind of hard to say. But I don't want another triple threat or fatal four-way. I want one-on-one.
Yeah, but my whole thing, and it's all speculation, of course, with the Roman. Did I say Braun? I meant Roman. Roman versus Lesnar at 34. Whoever wins, whatever. I prefer Roman. But then, who beats Roman? I have a huge issue with Brock, and I don't care about a 90% or more complaints, or he's not there every week. He barely shows up. Couldn't care less. I couldn't. But they've made him so, besides the Goldberg thing, invincible, for lack of a better term at the moment. That
Braun is about the only one who could conceivably take it from Roman.
Yeah, and that goes back to earlier, like, I don't care when, but get that feud started again, and that would be a this time there's stakes to it, not just I hate you, you hate me. Let's throw each other in dumpsters and ambulances. Like, actually have some stake for it.
Yeah. And I also want to see good storytelling in 2018.
Hey, you and I agree. Shock. Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air.
Dead air, dead air. Yeah, this
Outside of
is.
the
Go ahead.
outside of WWE, anything coming to mind as far as where you want to see people, or anything 2018 related that's not currently WWE?
It's hard to say because the other promotions that I watch, they're doing so good with everything.
Yeah,
CZW, IPW, they're doing awesome.
that's yeah. That's kind of not in the same words, but that's how I feel too. And like even New Japan and Ring of Honor is finally doing a bounce back. Oh, let's go back about 5 minutes or so. 2017, Don Castle winning the ROH championship. That was, I didn't think they would pull the trigger.
Well, if you want to go back, then you go back. Another thing was Aleister Black and Velvet Dream's feud.
Oh, that
I
was
finally
great.
watched all of that in NXT. I finally watched all of it, and it made me a huge Aleister Black fan now.
We
This,
tried telling you he's really really good.
and I'm really disappointed with that Fatal 4-Way.
Oh yeah, it,
If he wasn't gonna win it, they shouldn't have had him pinned.
yeah, that was and they. That's what I don't. There are fatal four ways in contrast between main roster and NXT booking and who takes pins. But that was kind of baffling. Like, hell, Aleister Black, Tommy fucking in four way. By the way, this is Violent Wrestling Podcast, so words.
We're not PG.
Uh,
Maybe
that,
maybe we should announce that next time we do for the second episode that we are not PG.
hey,
Viewer discretion.
I've been on my best behavior. I said damn once and maybe ass once, but Tommy without the swear word before end. But that was. I thought they would have, Gargano going over and stuff. Like, oh, okay, I'm cool with that. But for him to eat the pin, just so, like, didn't like that at all.
Boy, I almost threw my Kindle across the room when that happened. I was so mad.
Did you actually Did you finish? I know you were starting from the beginning. Velveteen Dream, Black Feud. Have you watched it all the way through to Takeover with the Say My Name stuff?
Yes, I have.
That, and I go way back now. feud of the year might be a tie with Braun and Roman and Velveteen Dream and Black, because that was, and how the ending, it's like a book. The book can be, compelling, throughout, but then that ending just gets you, and that's what that feud was. That, like, when after that match and Black sang his name, that that's good storytelling. That's you had an opening, a middle, and an end, but closed. That's good storytelling.
Yeah, and when they had Ambrose and Rollins feuding right after the chair shot heard around the world. I mean, they had a good beginning, had a good middle, but the ending,
That's something to desire.
they they ruined that feud with that ending. It's
It none of that really. Uh, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with it, but it's like having a jigsaw puzzle and missing a few pieces or more than a few. Like, it just didn't. We knew why they were feuding, and at the same time also knew that, okay, said turn, but Dean and Roman are still best buds. Like, we got that part. No meat on the bone, and what little bit of meat there was just wasn't cooked well or something. They put on great matches, but then all of a sudden, nothing happened. When Dean goes his way, Seth goes his way, and it felt incomplete.
incomplete because they threw Bray into it, and that's what I think really made it feel incomplete. Then Dean turned his attention to Bray and got his attention off of Seth when they had so
Yeah,
much more they could have given. Did you see their run in FCW?
one more time.
See the feud that they had in FCW?
Oh, when Dean was a heel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one match. I want to say on YouTube, and then clips. Oh, Dean was such a great heel in Florida Championship Wrestling. Oh, he was so good. I mean, he's always been good, but that run,
Well, he started a heel. I think even through his independent, he was a heel. I don't think he was ever a face.
well, yeah, but he, just for the what he was doing, he'd get cheered. He was never, WWE face, like baby face, but he'd get his cheers and the respect of, this dude is crazy, and just to, please us or entertain us, he got that kind of reaction.
Yeah, he he did. I know I can't remember which interview, but I know saw an interview with him, and he said he learned when he was a heel coming up, he learned to feed off of the crowd, off the negativity, and that is what got him going, was the negativity, because he could prove them wrong in the ring.
Right? He's like an actual Dolph Ziggler. I'm I'll prove you wrong in the ring. I'm this and that, and
Well, he backed up what he said he was going to do.
exactly. And Dolph just does it. I'm sorry, but good Lord, Dolph just bores me to tears. He
They just didn't know how to handle Dolph.
that the whole we talked about it a few minutes ago. Survivor Series 2014. That was perfect timing for Dolph. He was a sole survivor, and the crowd was behind him. And literally the next Monday, it was back to you know square one.
Yeah.
It might have been I think he was still, and then the whole authority and fired and come back and McMahon's being McMahon's. I guess they have to be whatever they think they're doing. It just got dumb real quick.
Yeah, that was a lot with. It's just they never really knew what to do with Dolph. I don't think
I
his
don't think
entire career.
I don't think Dolph has ever really known what to do with Dolph. Even going back to the squad, and like he does have he doesn't necessarily suck in the ring. He's got some talent, but he reminds me, or actually, since he Bailey reminds me kind of like Dolph, and oh my God, the heat I'm going to get for saying that. Like they have all this physical ability, they just don't. And this obviously goes towards some writing. They don't. And Bailey in NXT is wow, just phenomenal.
There's only one
It's hard,
phenomenal.
well, and I started to say no pun intended again.
Okay, Becky.
Sorry, but um, like there's something they're missing. Like everything's there again for the most part, but it's just something missing that just takes this block of blocks that you're trying to make a little castle out of. Sorry, I have an 8-year-old, so I deal with that kind of stuff. Like Lego, you're trying to make this.
Right.
This is missing that just makes it look like you're trying to build.
Well, I also think working in Full Sail, you're working with a smaller audience who sees you all the time.
Right.
So
I
they
get
get
that.
to, yeah, so they get to know you, they get to know the character and everything. To the main roster, you're performing in front of thousands, different audiences almost every time.
Yeah. New crowd every night.
So if it small in a small situation has a hard time sometimes has a hard time translating to the bigger stage. I think that was one of Tyler
Right.
Breeze's problems.
Ascension, for that matter. That not sure how much early NXT so over in NXT. And yes, I do still blame JBL for and their entrance bearing the again not PG guys bearing the shit out of Ascension view, but they didn't get the following like should for one the whole they didn't just come up as Ascension, the whole Road Warriors dollar store look stuff. Like what the so this 10-minute podcast has turned into I have no idea how long we've been on now. About an hour, I think.
Oh, yeah, 45 minutes to an hour.
Two friends talking about wrestling. What can you do?
Yeah, that's right. Ascension, when they came up, they should have had Corey Graves introduce them. I think Corey could have done a much better job.
Oh, that would have been. Yeah, that. And I don't. Surely not, but who knows? I don't think JBL meant to, but he did. I mean, there's. It's not. I mean, there was no. I don't know what happened there. Like who, if that was him on his own, or if that was actually written for when they came out. It didn't go well, to a TV viewer.
No.
Like that, they were instantly presented as jokes.
Oh, it's the same thing. Poor Tyler Breeze, his didn't go over well on the main roster.
But we got fashion files out of it. Dango.
Yes. Hey, as long as we got fashion files. I mean, that was a great pairing that they did.
Yeah, and that's the other day this came up about the Ascension and what gimmick was ruined quickest, and I've said something like the Ascension was like a word, and whatever this response was, I said, hey, we at least got the fashion files with the Ascension, a couple of years later, but and things could have happened before then, but hey, because they feed off of each other so well.
Yeah.
Look at the Ascension and with their face paint and just kind of them playing the straight men to Rizingo's craziness. It works so well, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes Ascension funny because they are the straight guys.
Yeah, it's they're the ones that are thinking and trying to really get to the root of everything, and Fandango and Tyler
Fandango. Fandango.
You're silly. You're silly.
Hey. I mean, I'm the one who thought that.
No, go ahead. You're the one that thought what?
Huh? I'm the one who thought that chair that Braun threw at Roman, the desk chair.
Yeah, the office chair.
Yeah, I kept wondering if that office chair had medical insurance.
It should.
I know the tables better have medical insurance.
Oh yeah. Ambulance, anything in the building, if it's Braun versus Roman, get it insured.
Oh yeah. But vehicles never fare well in WWE.
No, that's a nope. If you see a vehicle around, it's pretty much not going over.
Yep.
I'm still, my son got for Christmas and stuff, and I'm still upset because he loves playing as Braun. That with the commentators area, that Braun can't pick up one of those office chairs. At least we haven't figured out how. I don't know if you can actually do it, but we try and try to have him pick up one of those chairs and throw it at somebody.
Try talking to Metal Matt.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
He's the one who found out that you can set the tables on fire.
Yeah, I still haven't figured that out either, but I haven't been able to play online and download all the bells and whistles. We've just been having matches together.
Yeah, and your son's kicking your butt.
Yeah, oh, I think I've won 3 times now. First match was a 30-second squash. To be an 8-year-old again with all that. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry, my screen just went to a different screen for some. Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, to get squashed by an 8-year-old, and I guess if you hit enough buttons quick enough, you figure out moves. But and I'm just trying to figure out how to kick or punch, and
Have your son show you. He can show you how to do it.
he keeps his secrets to himself.
Smart.
Yes, because he does not like people winning against him.
Yeah, he's got the makings of a wrestler right there.
Yep, he's keeping it kayfabe. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like, you learned it on your own. He is not he's not a Lance Storm kind of teacher. Like, let me show you. Let me show you. He's all about him. Uh, before we get dead air, and I think we're kind of wrapping this up. This 10-minute podcast became. Shout out to Shooting the Breeze. You can follow them at Shooting the Breeze, SHOOTINDABREEZE1 on Twitter, and at Two Guys One Sport. That's the number 2 GUYS, the number 1 SPORT on Twitter. We've been trying to do this podcast for a couple months, and we finally got together, and they've been promoting us. And as AA said earlier, she's been a guest, and those are our friends as well. We're their friends, so give them a follow, give them a listen.
And don't forget Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. If you haven't heard Fizzy give a promo, it's a treat. You're missing something.
He is really good. They're going on a hiatus until after January. But Fizz is the best at his promos, but he needed to take some time off, but maybe sometime after January. Wacky World of Wrestling.
But you can hear Shooting the Breeze on Saturday mornings.
Oh, sorry, I did not promote the time.
At 9 a.m. Central. And you can, Two Guys One Sport nights. They're going to hate me for this because I'm going to put it in Central Time. I think it's 9 p.m. Central.
Which one?
Two Guys One Sport.
Yes, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Central.
Yes. Now, they do fluctuate. There's a couple of wild and crazy guys, so the times may fluctuate. And is usually
And I guess that's a wrap for us for our first 10-minute podcast that became an hour podcast.
boo. We want more. We want more. We want more.
We'll let everyone know when we have a set day and time. Our biggest problem is actually trying to get to where we both can be on at the same time.
I'll raise my hand. My biggest problem is my internet is crap, and that's been the holdup this entire time. But we're working on it. We're gonna get through it, and we're gonna figure out a way and go from there and keep you guys in the loop and what we think and all this independent stuff and interviews, all that jazz that you guys tune into for.
And as I said, you can find me on Twitter at Lady Rashana.
And I'm at Fireman6809.
And and just remember, you can always drop us an email, wrestling with the G podcast at gmail.com.
Don't forget, only forget the G in our Twitter handle. Everything else has a G. Violent Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. The Violent Wrestling Podcast at Twitter. So we're going to call it a night and go enjoy the rest of what is 2017. Maybe watch some bloody matches.
Yes, I've got my screwdriver set up next to me, and I'm going to be watching some Cage of Death matches.
Oh, nice. All right, guys. Well, this is Mox.
Ambrose Alley.
And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.